as people, looking for some type of leisure and relaxation is very common and ideal, especially considering how real things may be in actual reality. You know, school, work, etc. And reading comic books is one of those things. Reading comic books brings our mind into a plane of fiction in which some may argue to be very unrealistic, therefore being a waste of time. But what if I were to tell you that this is not the case? What if I were to tell you that reading comic books could actually present to us what our reality could be or the way we act? What if I were to also tell you that reading in general could just remind us of how much we can learn, how much we can broaden the way we think, and even improve on the way we think? Now, I'm not, obviously I'm not saying that with reading comic books we can find a way to become Superman or become the next Flash and make an alternate timeline, or like go in the subway in the valley, spray painting on the wall, having a spider creep up on our wrist or something like that. Like, no, it's not gonna happen. It can't happen. But mainly what I'm focusing on is the morals behind these stories, behind these plots that we learn from these certain characters. And just the amount of knowledge and skills we can gain from just reading these comic books that are just meant to entertain us. There are so many morals out there that we can learn, but I'm just going to be talking about a few out of so many. These morals that I'm primarily referring to are responsibility, trust/family, sacrifice, and integrity. Now let's talk about the most commonly regarded heroes of today's comics. So in the Amazing Fantasy 15, which you can see here right now, it's a comic strip you're seeing right now. Spider-Man, first off, this book was written in the year of 1962 by the late Stan Lee. Obviously, it's a Spider-Man comic, and in the scene that you're looking at right now is when a runaway criminal is running away from the cops, and Spider-Man is running after him. Obviously, Spider-Man being as strong and fast as he is, it's no problem for him to capture him. But it was when Spider-Man looked at him. Spider-Man looked at him and noticed that he had seen this criminal before. And that before was when the last time he saw his Uncle Ben. All you guys, you guys may know the story for those who read the comics, but Uncle Ben is very close to Spider-Man. And the last time he saw Uncle Ben was the last time he saw this criminal, and this criminal happened to be the person to kill Uncle Ben. And so when Spider-Man found that out, he was very devastated, and then and there was very hurtful and very truthful moment for him. He realized that with the power he had, he was able to prevent this from happening, but he just didn't do anything about it. And it was at this moment when Spider-Man realized and automatically identified his purpose. He knew that with great power comes great responsibility, and he decided to not let anything like this happen ever again with the powers that he had obtained. So in this chapter, we can learn that responsibility, us knowing what we have to do, and us realizing, the things that we are held accountable for, can really keep things going out of hand. As you can see here, as he had the chance to stop the criminal, this could have prevented, most of the things from happening, such as his uncle dying. Us realizing our responsibility can keep things from going out of hand, as I said before, and also help us to acknowledge what we have to do, and also we are already motivated to do them. This chapter of Spider-Man's, Peter Parker's life, really hit home for us readers. Now on to the next topic. I'll be talking about I'll be talking about trust and family. The arguably strongest Avenger, Thor, right? All you guys know Thor, right? Okay. Thor is, very funny in the MCU productions and slash the universe. And he can be in the comics too. But he has a very, consistent problem with his brother Loki, who is, regarded as the god of mischief. He and Loki have very complicated trust issues. At times when, here I'll show you comic strips of where Thor is actually relying on Loki to help him in assistance, to help in certain problems and to assist him in certain situations. But, instead of doing this, Loki would instead betray him, helping the opposing side of the problem. Right now, what you're looking at is, him laughing and, just enjoying his mischief tactic that he has committed towards his brother. But in the next slide, you see Thor and Loki and a bunch of other people fighting alongside each other to fight for the sake of Asgard. And this just goes to show, how inconsistent their relationship can be. This shows you how complicated things can be for Thor. But it just goes to show that Thor knows that Loki's family, and Thor knows that with Loki always being inconsistent with him doing good and bad, it is sometimes even the right call to even kill Loki for some of the things he has done. But because Thor and Loki are family, he always tries to give Loki the benefit of the doubt. And that's some of the things we need to look at. When we look closely into this, obviously to a certain extent, you can't always give the benefit of the doubt to people who would always be on your side and then do something bad afterwards. Like you can't be friends with someone who will get ice cream with you one day and then try to murder your girlfriend the other day. You can't be friends with a person like that. But, in these comics, of course, they take things to such degree, but, all in all, it still portrays the message for us. It allows us to understand that, not most of us will be standing on the common ground, even with your family members, but always try to give the benefit of the doubt, always try to see the light in things, always try to be able to understand. And Thor, he gives a lot of effort in doing this to his brother Loki. And all his efforts are rewarded to him as Loki is on his side, fighting alongside with him. Lastly, I'll be talking about sacrifice and integrity. In the book, The Feud Between Batman and Superman are dueling in combat, right? Okay, so look at the picture at your right? And you're like, okay, what the heck is going on, right? Because first off, Superman is really, really strong. Batman should not even be able to breathe in the first second. He should not be standing right now. But I'm going to tell you something about Superman. I'm going to tell you something about him. This dude is very, very wholehearted. He's very soft, per se. He's very sentimental as a hero. Superman always, when he's in combat, he always tries, even when fighting enemies, he finds a way to give them some type of mercy before finishing them off. And this can lead to him getting hurt and scratched when, that should not be able to happen. That should not be happening at all. Really, if Superman did not give a flying fish, or if he just went full out in fights and decided to pummel his enemies the second he sees them, he would not get a scratch on him, and he would win every fight. But, this just gives you an idea, what I just told you, it gives you an idea of who he is, and, why you're seeing what you're seeing right now. Because realistically, Batman, that's not possible. All right, so now that I explained that, in this duel, Superman, after saying what I've said, Superman is very, he has a lot of integrity. He's very honest and fair and very aware of things. Now, integrity, let me define that word for you guys. Integrity is having the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles. Words that can describe this are being righteous, having righteousness, obviously morality, and my favorite one is nobility. He's very noble. Superman being as strong as he is, allowing himself to belittle himself and, letting Batman last with him in the battle. Like, with that much power, I wouldn't even let someone touch me if I had as much power as Superman. But for him to be fighting, Batman like this, he has a lot of integrity and is able to hold down his ego, hold down his pride to be able to fight him because he has awareness of his weakness as a human being. And, that's one thing too. Awareness is very important when just having interactions with people. Being able to have an open eye and just an open mind in general can allow you to really take the time to understand who you're dealing with. And, Superman is a good example of that. This then leads to sacrifice. Being as strong as he is, Superman can sometimes put himself into very rough and ridiculous situations. Even though I just said he was powerful, no one can touch him. He is a person who doesn't second guess on sacrifice. He's always willing to put himself in front of others if it means if it's for a greater cause. And that's who Superman was. He was willing to, he was willing to sacrifice himself for the people he loved, such as his wife Lois or his family, his cousin. And right now you can see to your left that, he's in bad shape. He can't even open his eyes. He's not able to even speak to Lois. And these are heroes that you have to admire, even though, someone as strong as Superman, that really is hard to see. Someone that strong and having to end up being that badly beat up is very, at the same time, it may be sad, but also inspiring, and it warms your heart. But what readers should get out of this is that, you don't really have to sacrifice your well-being in order to, make something good happen or to encourage the process of the good. No, you don't have to do that. You don't have to be as beat up as Superman, but there's other things you can sacrifice, such as ego, hatred, or any grudges that you have towards anyone that could possibly affect a process or affect, some type of collaborations or anything like that. Sacrifice is needed in order to, in order to allow a process of good to happen. And that's who Superman was. Superman was a person who was able to not second guess his actions when it came to sacrifice. He knew that certain things had to happen, and if he had to sacrifice something for a greater cause, he would do it with no hesitation. And that's who he was. And it's morals like these that help people really develop in character and allows them in the long run to succeed in life and to obtain true happiness, And even though these comic books, they're meant to entertain us primarily because that's their purpose. Don't get it twisted. Like, some comic books are just straight up meant to entertain you. But, there's a lot of things that can be learned from reading these comic books. These are just few of many, right? There's certain other heroes who are very strong in morality, or plots in comics that are strong in lessons that we can all learn from, such as, the DC hero Flash, or Aquaman, and all these certain type of heroes, or Wolverine. As Wolverine may not be the best example of a person, but he is his story is interesting. Wolverine's story is interesting, but as a reader, when reading these comics, we are open to so many things. We are entering a plane of truth. It could be love and affection. It could be just straight up entertainment, but our mind is at a different place, and we are living through the stories and the plots of fictional characters that we can all gain from as we leave out from those planes of fiction, that we can all carry out in our lives. And so I want to encourage you all to, when you have the chance, just read any comic book you can. Find a comic book and see what you can learn from the comic books. Try to point out the morals that these certain heroes portrayed, and just point that out, and just tell me about it. You can DM me, or all right, don't DM me, but you can talk to me. You can see me on campus, and just tell me about these morals, because honestly, reading comic books is fun, and when you can do something that's fun and also beneficial in terms of the way you act and the proper way of living, it makes you feel somewhat accomplished, that you're able to be happy and able to feel relieved at the same time, knowing that you're able to become a better person out of doing something you love. Thank you.